as you once said, united under Tamil Shiva.
I'm just surprised that most of the Quran only brothers or Quranists that they maybe didn't get it right, that the Messiah will come back according to the Quran, not the Hadith. The Hadith also argue the same thing, but even if just somebody looked at it from the Quran by itself, one will be forced to conclude. And just from that would be just like the title. It's not the full depth of it. Just the ayah that you quoted there for 157, 159. Just from that alone, they will be forced to conclude from the Quran that the Messiah has to be coming back. So obviously, I don't see how everybody felt from that side to ignore it. Sorry, to not see it. So sometimes it becomes a bit suspicious. Go ahead, brother General. I know you were itching to come up, so go ahead. I go salam first of all.
Yes, salam alaikum. Okay, so really, I still don't see, where in the verse you guys, are taking this understanding that he is coming back. I don't see it in the verse that you guys are even quoting. So maybe you guys, can you highlight it for me?
Yeah, so I'll give you a very quick, brief summary. So if you just give me about 1 or 2 seconds. So if you look at
Let General first read it. General first read the verse. Yeah.
so actually it's good.
So
General, can if you read the verses, just 157, 158, and 159 of chapter 4 as pinned on the title here.
okay. Okay, so 157. For they are saying, we have killed the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, the messenger of God. They did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but it was made to appear to them as if they had. Those who dispute are in doubt of him. They have no knowledge except to follow conjecture. They did not kill him for a certainty. Instead, God raised him to himself, and God is noble, wise. And there is not from the people of the book, but surely he believes in him before his death. And on the day of resurrection, he will be witness against them.
Okay, so interesting. Just now, a couple of points. What would you conclude from this so far on the surface before we can just go back slowly onto the ayat? What would you conclude generally so far from these verses?
Okay, what I'll conclude is the people, they did something to, or they tried to do something to the message, or the messenger, I would say the messenger, from God. They tried to do something, and they felt, as if they succeeded in doing whatever harm, it is, that they tried to do on the messenger. And they it was made to appear to them that, they did that harm, but they didn't realize that they couldn't harm the, messenger, from God. They couldn't harm the kalamullah. They couldn't harm it. So it was made to appear to them as if they had, but instead God raised, his kalam, to himself, and uh, and on the day, on the day of resurrection, uh, the message that was, given to them will be witnessed against them. That's all I can see, from these 3 verses.
Okay, so let me try to focus maybe some of your attention on some of them. So the first verse, وقولهم إن قتلنا المسيح عيسى ابن مريم رسول الله وما قتلوه وما صلبوه ولكن شبه لهم. And the verse continues. So, and their speech, so this is what they said, we killed. So the background to this, by the way, is the Ahl al-Kitab, previous verses talking about Ahl al-Kitab in the past tense, and then It's talking about the same people and their speech that we killed the Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam. I won't go into the difference between Messiah and Messiah for now. Just leave that aside. There is a huge difference. But Al Messiah Isa ibn Maryam, Rasulullah. So these are the people who are boasting that they killed the Messiah Isa ibn Maryam, the messenger of Allah. Okay, so obviously they're not people who genuinely believe in Allah anyway, and they have this fictional boast. According to the Quran so far, all of this is just claims. They claim verbally that we killed him. And then it says, وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ, they did not kill him. وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ, did not kill him by any means, and did not crucify him by any means, according to the ayah. وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُم, but it was made to appear to them as such. Who made it appear? It wasn't Allah, for sure. For sure. It's not Allah. They made it appear. So they invented a narrative. Not even they put somebody physically. I don't believe that. Based on the language. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He shows you something, you'll have to believe it. So He, for example, makes somebody look like, let's say Haidar Ali, and I see Haidar Ali, let's say flying in the clouds. If I reject this, it's kufr. Because if Allah made me it appear like this way, so Allah didn't make it appear to them. It didn't say Allah made it appear. It says, but it was وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُم, but it was made to appear. Now who made it appear? The same people who are arguing the same nonsense. This claim, we killed the Messiah Isa ibn Maryam, they made it appear through language alone, by inventing a story that they killed him. But the ayah says, but surely they didn't. And anybody who's following this is just conjecture. One interesting note about this ayah, everything mentioned is in the past tense. What does that really mean? It means it's before the Quran happened. Okay? We killed the Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam, Rasulullah, and but they did past tense, kill him nor crucify him, all past tense, but it was made to appear to them as such, all past tense. And so all of that is in the past, and then it goes, whoever is following this is conjecture, that's in the present tense. Then it goes back again in the next ayah, past tense, but Allah raised him onto himself, all in the past tense, meaning before the Quran. Is this correct so far, General?
Okay, so you
So far.
yeah, so far you aren't taking the crucifixion as something literal, like something physical, right?
Well, what should I take it as?
Well, um, that's what you are explaining. You said you aren't taking it to be literal.
Yeah, well, I always take things literal, Brother General. Everything, I read it based on language. And I don't, if there's a metaphor in the language, in the context, then I will
Okay,
claim a metaphor.
okay.
Only because of
So
the language. If there's a simile, I will claim a simile only when the language says so. So I can't say it's a metaphor. The language has to say. If, for example, says, God will roll back the heavens like He rolls the carpet. This is already a comparative. This is like an embedded metaphor. So I will say, yes, Allah will roll back the heavens like the rolling. This word, like the rolling of a carpet, that's already a natural metaphor. I don't have to invent it. It's drawing a comparison. Not
yeah,
saying that the heaven is a carpet, it's like a carpet. Okay?
yeah,
So I read the language for what it says.
just like the cutting of the hand, you will take it to be literal, right? And
Absolutely literal. But hand to
yes,
me,
and
literal, yeah.
you know, God's hand, you also take it to be literal. God's face, you take it
Yeah.
to be literal.
Yeah. So the cutting of the so-called hand you quoted, the literal
Oh
is the
God.
following. أقطع أيديهما, cut their ID. The word ID in the Arabic language literally means what? Power. That's literal, by the way. The word hand is a derivative of the word yad. So I'll tell you, just if you brief with me for a moment. So if you look at this word, just in the Quran, the word yad, so it's mentioned in a number of forms. Yad, yaday, ID, and so on. So the singular, the dual, and the plural is mentioned. Even relative to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Relative to other people is usually mentioned is yad or ID. Okay, so yaday, it doesn't usually. the dual, not that I can remember. But the singular and the plural is mentioned in regards to other people. But the point is, if you look at all the ayat in the Quran that use this word yad, you can personally derive the literal meaning. Personally, you don't have to even look at the dictionary. And basically, you could identify one common feature amongst all the ayat in the Quran which use the same root, yad. And that common feature will not be hand. The common feature will be power. And actually, you will realize in the few instances in the Quran where the context forces the word power to become hand, it's a derivative. And you'll actually even realize that why in Arabic language that word hand is associated with the word yad, because it's a source of power. So I do
Okay,
read it literally, yes. In general,
so
always.
then you don't take it to be literal. But anyway, before we
But just
yeah
one
you,
quick point. So
before we go, we change the topic to the cutting off hand and stuff like that.
no, but I
Let's
don't
just go
believe there's
back
a cutting
to
off a hand if you're really asking from the
yeah.
literal
That's
dimension.
all you had to say, Mahdi. Not
Yeah.
start this
So the
long
literal
explanation.
yeah, so I apologize. The literal essence
Anyway,
of
so
the ayah
Mahdi,
does not involve cutting hands.
exactly. So you don't take it to be literal. That was
No,
my
no, that
point.
is literal, by the way. Is literal. The non-literal is to say there's cutting off hand. But that's not our argument. That's
Okay,
non-literal,
was
by
it?
the way.
So it's not a physical hand, right?
No, the actual literal content has nothing to do with hand
Yeah, it has
in this
nothing to do with a
context.
physical hand. Good. Exactly my point and
But in
exactly
the
your point.
same manner, when
So
we come to this set of
we're on the
verses,
same we're on the same understanding on that, right? So well, Haidar Ali here, of course, he takes it to be to cut the hand. He wants to see blood. That's Haidar Ali. But okay, so Mahdi, the verse in the Quran that talks about Isa, there's a verse that says Isa is it calls Isa the Kalamullah. It calls Isa the
no, kalimatun
yeah,
min Allah.
kalimat min. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so kalima min Allah, that's a word from Allah. It doesn't say kalimat Allah. Kalimat Allah would be the word of God. But remember the same Quran, it says, if you count the words of Allah, you can never count them. They will fill oceans upon oceans upon oceans upon oceans. And if you add again oceans upon oceans of ink and ink, you'll never exhaust the words of Allah. Now, one of these words is al-Masih. One of them, okay? He's not the word, but a word. Now, that does not reduce the significance. What is this word? Now, this word, obviously, is something significant. Is it everything? No, it's not everything. But is it significant? Yes. And we have to look at the traces significance in the Quran. So the significance of this word is that this was a messenger and he was capable of speech, let's say from his birth, had a very interesting origins, just like Adam had interesting origins. So it's not any word, it's very unique in many ways. Okay. And he had a
Mm-hmm.
book given to him as a child. He was able to speak very earlier on. And he had a mission with the Israelites at some point. And at some point, they rejected him and tried to kill him. Very obvious. But Allah rescued him. All before the Quran. Now, is this the end of it? No, the Quran carries on. That this also individual, uniquely in the Quran, he was supported with Ruh al-Quds. The Quran mentioned it 3 times in the past tense. We supported him with Ruh al-Quds. The same word. Okay? And that has a meaning. And from this legacy of verses, we realize that some people were obviously boasting that they killed and crucified him. And the Quran rejects this concept. It says they didn't kill him, they didn't crucify him. There's a reason, by the way. It says they did not kill him. That first of all highlights the question, did he die? So interesting question. Then the verse also carries on and says, but Allah raised him upon himself or to himself. And then the tense shifts and it says, and none of the people of the book but will have to believe in him before his death. And on the day of resurrection, he will be a witness upon them. Now this is this ayah. Now this is all in the future tense. This is literally. One can't say, well, there's no gymnastics, there's no metaphors here. He's actually saying what he's saying explicitly. So this is in the future tense. The question is, why do some people reject this very clear issue that the Messiah, who Allah raised him to Himself, at some point he will have to die, and not only he will die, according to the ayah, but everyone present of Ahl al-Kitab, whoever this Ahl al-Kitab may be. Okay, in context, the context here is open. Could be so-called Jews, Christians, Muslims, and other people, Hindus, and everybody else who had a kitab. And I believe everybody, nation in the earth, had a kitab at some point. And some people, their kitab today is the Quran, even if they reject it, is the Quran. Now the point is that, according to this, all of them will have to believe in him. Now we could come to this. What does this mean? But that's not our main point of discussion now. What does it mean to believe in him? We're going to come to that. But why do many, as Brother Haidar Ali says, why do
Wait,
many
Mahdi,
Quranists
sorry,
and Quran?
which verse are you reading right now?
159 of Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4.
Okay, please read it again.
So the verse says, وَإِن مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ, if my memory serves me well. So أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإن من أهل الكتاب إلا ليؤمنن به قبل موته ويوم القيامة يكون عليهم شهيدا. Now, and none of the people of the book, but will have to, emphasis, have to believe in him, not before their death, before his death, قبل موته ويوم القيامة يكون عليهم شهيدا. Now, one of the tricks, sorry, and this sounds like a trick to me, so I'm not an accusation, that when it comes to people who do not want to accept what the Quran is literally saying, they try to, and this is, I feel there is a trick here in this case, maybe a lack of sincerity. In this particular case, they would try to twist it and say that none of the people of the book but will have to believe in him before they die. That's the one example of the tricks. Before each one, that's not the language. It's not to say before they die, before he dies. Now we know from the Quran and in the past, very few people believed in him from Bani Israel. Very few. Okay, they followed him. And all the others, they rejected him. Not only rejected him, they were even boasting, as the ayah 157 highlights. They boasted that, oh, we killed the Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam, Rasulullah. That kind of boast. According to this other ayah, he's saying that they must believe in him. Illa, this word illa is critical. Illa. It doesn't leave no option out. It's not something that you could choose or not choose. But it's saying, illa la ya'minanna bihi. Except they will, let's call it belief. Actually, the literal is slightly more richer. It doesn't say unless they believe in Allah. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say unless they believe in the Haqq. No, it doesn't say that. It says him, personally him. What does it mean to me here? يَأْمِنَنَّ بِهِ is that they will come to recognize with certainty, whether they like it or not, that he is Al-Masih, number one. And he is the Rasulullah, number two. They may not like it. They may even hate it. They may even rebel against it. They may even die for it. But they will know him personally. And that means in his second coming, there will be something different about this guy. That people who encountered him will recognize who he is, whether they love him or hate him. It doesn't say that they will, not the ayah. It doesn't say they will believe in Allah. It doesn't say that they will believe in the truth. It doesn't say that they will become believers. It doesn't say that they will become Muslim. None of that. That would be compulsion. No, they will come to recognize this guy, this one particular individual, who he is. And who he is not only Al-Masih, Isa ibn Maryam, and this word Al-Masih is not the Messiah, by the way. The word Masih, if you just don't mind me sharing this with you.
Mahdi, you're going on for too long.
Okay, I apologize. Then go ahead. You want to comment? Carry on.
Yeah, so you see, this verse 159, before his death, right? So none of the people of the book. So it's a general term. It's talking about everyone, right? If
It's
I'm
not talking
correct.
about everyone. It says none but of the people of the book. If it says none of the people of the book,
Yeah, none of the. Yeah, yes, like that. So it's talking about. It's still a general term. It's talking about everyone. It's
yeah, but
referring to
if you
everyone.
don't
They
mind
will
me just
have
adding
to.
a slight difference. if you don't mind. If it says all the people of the book, that would mean from Adam
Mm-hmm.
all the way until Yom Al Qiyamah. That'll be all
Mm-hmm.
the people of the book. They will come to know him. It doesn't say
Mm-hmm.
that. It says none but of the people. Min. The word min here is critical. And it's showing here that some of the people of the book, because there's some who don't have a clue about the Messiah. They never encountered him. People like Noah, Ibrahim, Adam, they never encountered the Messiah. They wouldn't know. Some of them are people of the book. Okay? But it's saying none but of the people of the book at some
Okay.
point.
I think
And I
I
think,
think you misunderstood me.
go ahead.
So when the Quran says people of the book, it's referring to, and it's referring to uh, a particular, set of people that have upheld, uh, guidelines, that have been given, to them by God, and that is what makes them people of the book. So even as of today, uh, you can have human beings living, like just living about their daily lives and stuff like that. Maybe the things they do, the things they believe in, will make them, the people of the book. And there are some, that they reject, the guidelines, the laws, and stuff like that. Am I correct? Are we on the same page on this?
Yeah, I understand. I think your point. To me, the book is not only the legal part of the Quran. Some people, that's what you're saying. I think that's a misconception.
Well,
And
not only that, but you get what I'm saying.
okay, so what I think I got it, but let me clarify.
Mm-hmm.
So the people, none of the people of the book. If it says that, that means a small portion of them, and it's true. That's what the ayah is saying. إلا وإن من, this word min shows it's a portion, not everyone. وإن من أهل الكتاب. So this is some of the people of the book. I agree up to now here. And I told you the people of the book, if you just leave it open, you could include everyone, whoever received the revelation. But then the interesting point, it says إلا ليؤمنن به. The word إلا, that means though people of the book at some point in time, it doesn't matter which background they have and whether they're adherents, sincere, not sincere, but they're associated with the book, they are illa. That means they will have no option but to recognize the Messiah. So here is the iman here comes from the word secure or recognize. And here is that, I mean, it will highlight that everyone at some point in time who are people of the book, that would be a portion of everyone who was ever people of the book, they will be illa ليؤمنن به. They will actually have no option but to recognize al-Masih. Recognize him. That doesn't mean, by the way, follow him. That doesn't mean accept him. That means they will come to know why he is al-Masih, Isa ibn Maryam Rasulullah, as highlighted two ayat earlier.
Okay, so Mahdi, you see, so this 159 right now, as you said, they will come to recognize. They will come to recognize him. I 100% agree with you on that. Why? Because of the verse that tells us that Isa is not Kalama, right?
Yeah,
The word
kalima.
from God. Yeah,
Kalimatullah.
Kalima. Exactly. So if you try to connect it, people of the book, Kalim Allah, you are going to understand what this verse is talking about. It's not talking about a man dying and coming back to life, in another lifetime. And I mean, this simply is talking about. I mean, okay, how do you crucify a word?
No, but
How
they
do you
never did
crucify a word?
crucify the word.
Exactly.
If you
I
call
know
it the
they
word.
didn't. That's what I'm saying. They didn't. They think that they did, but they didn't crucify the word, and that's why you as someone that can be Ahl Kitab and whatnot, you will be able to recognize. You'll be able to recognize
Yeah, but
Isa. Okay.
recognizing here doesn't mean, by the way, okay, there's the man. No, they will come to understand and believe fully that this
Still the
guy
same
is
thing.
Al Masih. Al
Still the
Masih.
same thing. So it's not, the verse isn't saying that Isa died and then he's coming back in no, that isn't what the verse is saying, because when you do that, the image you are putting in people's head is okay, he died, he was buried, he turned to dust, and
No,
then
no,
in
General,
a,
General, I don't believe he died. Period. There is nothing to
so
indicate that he died ever. I know Allah can let somebody die and raise him
I mean,
again
if
in
you are
his
looking
life.
at if you are looking at a human being, is what I'm saying. For example, you are when you started the room, I'm sure you and Haider were discussing, because I listened to you guys. You guys were discussing, like a human being, living, and then there was this time that people pin him, on a cross, and it was made to appear to them as if he was on the cross, but he wasn't the one on the cross. So the way you guys, like the image that you guys were portraying, is all I'm trying to clarify here. There's a big issue if you guys, and this is the majority, belief. This is the majority belief. People just believe that, oh, a human being, you know died, because Mahdi, you can't tell me that, okay, you are taking this verse to be a human being, and then thousands of years, have passed, and this human being is still living. No, I can understand that, the word of God can, live for billions of years. That I have no issue with when we come to understanding Isa to be the word from God. But then when you start pinning it down to, oh, this human being, he's coming back. I mean, okay, what do you think happened? His body and soul was taken up, like, teleported out from this planet, or what? If Carlos was in this room, I'm sure you and Carlos will start having a problem by now, or him, or in regards to that, because I mean, come on, someone was on this planet, just teleported, went to where, and then later on he's going to come back with same body, and it just kind of goes off logic, like, completely. So if you are to say it's the kalamullah, kalimatullah, the word from God, that I have no problem with. The people, this is what I understand from the verse. The people, they taught, or they tried to crucify the word from the word from God. That is, something that people have been doing for so long, trying to hide the message from God, trying to distort it, trying to, whatnot. So it was made to appear to them as if they did, but they didn't. And if you are someone, that is Ahlul Kitab, you go for the book, you'll be able to recognize this Kalimallah. It's as simple as that.
What? Oh, you're on, he's on the phone. He's on the phone. Let him come back.
General, can you tell me how does a Quranist understand Quran?
Sorry, what was that question? Sorry, Haider?
How does these Quranists understand Quran?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to discover at the present moment. But interestingly, oh, he's back, General. He's back. So, General, it's let me give you a summary of what you just said. So, what you said, the Masih Isa ibn Maryam is kalimat min Allah. Yes, it's true. He's a word from God. What that really means, we could go into it. Maybe because Allah said be and He was, or it could be something else. No problem. But this kalima that you put is not a word, just a word that somebody tried to crucify the word of God as you put it, and they failed. No, it's not. This is actually kalima of Allah, is a walking, talking, flesh human being. That's the first point in what you just last said. I just want to make it clear. Do you recognize that this word is a walking, talking flesh human being? Or is it just a word in a sense that somebody tried to crucify, maybe destroy? We could go into a metaphor of how they crucify a word and so on. Are you saying the latter, or are you saying that this word, as Allah described, He described it in many ways? He described him as the Messiah, He described him as Ibn Maryam, described him as Isa, described him as a word, described him as a person who talked and flesh and so on and so forth. Are you referring to this kalima in that all this manner altogether, or are you referring to the Messiah just as a word, singular word? Which one?
Yes, just as a word that brings the dead back to life, the word that communicated to the people in at a very young age, you know, the word that cured the blind, and I mean, you know what I mean when I say, oh, cure the blind. It's not like
But sorry, General, I get the point. So you're summarizing the entire narrative of Al Masih Isa ibn Maryam Rasulullah to focus on the word and ignore the rest. Is that what you're saying?
what I'm ignoring here is the human being aspect, which has nothing to do with me. That's what I am ignoring. And sadly, anyone that believes in this a human being teleporting from this planet and going up, and then later this same human being, after thousands or millions of years, this same human being they believe is going to come back to do what, I don't know. So that human being aspect is what I'm ignoring. But the word, like the teachings, the what 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 message, like the message, I would say, the message itself is what I am not ignoring.
But it seems that you are, and I tell you why, General. It seems, and I want you to correct me, because you've reduced all the various things that the Quran mentioned about the Messiah Isa ibn Maryam, which mentioned it once from my memory, that he is a word from Allah, okay? And Allah likens him to Adam alayhi salam uniquely, and because their creation maybe is unique, okay? No problem, we could discuss that. But you're ignoring all those other elements, that this was given birth to by a woman called Maryam. This was a talking, functional human being in every facet. He was a person who talked and walked amongst the people. He was a person who ate and drank. He was a person who could feel pain, could feel suffering. This was a person who was given a title, Al Masih, which is repeated over and over and over again, whereas the word is mentioned once and it has significance. But you're saying this word mentioned once in the Quran about the Masih is actually everything, all the other issues mentioned. Isa mentioned multiple times, Masih multiple times, Ibn Maryam multiple times, the fact that he interacted with human beings multiple times, the fact that he could feel pain and sorrow and so on multiple times. All of this now has been ignored. It feels, it seems to me, and I want you to correct me, and you've reduced
No,
it to
you
one
are wrong.
aspect that you want to focus on, which is a word, and
You
you've
are wrong.
likened the whole thing to just a word, but it's not a talking, walking human being. Is that true?
What you are failing to see, and what I said is, I said he brings the dead back to life. How is he able to do that if he isn't interacting with people?
So he is a
How is he
functional
able
human being.
to?
He is a walking, talking flesh
Exactly.
human being.
So it's either it's I if you understand, how he was able to bring the dead back to life, or make the blind see, and stuff like that, then you will understand what I mean by saying, oh, sorry, then you wouldn't be saying that I'm disregarding him, interacting with people, because he will have to interact with people to do all those things.
Yeah,
He will
but
have.
what I get is that it is a he, a male first of all, and it is flesh, walking,
Madi, two
talking.
minutes. I'll make a comment. I'll make a comment here. See, General talks about teleporting Isa to heaven. See, first of all, Adam and Eve, they were sent down to earth from paradise. And for God, everything is possible. He can take Isa in a flesh to heaven.
Thank you.